Wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers, welcome back to Wizdom Dropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. Meow. My name is Tonia, and today we're talking about the sacred irony of the sun and the moon in your chart and how to reconcile those two energies. Why is there this built-in contention, might you ask? Well, that's because the sun represents the divine masculine in any chart. It's like the supreme embodiment of divinity and divine masculine, whereas the moon is the supreme embodiment of femininity and the more material and spiritual aspects of divinity. And there's a lot of kind of debate and different ways of understanding this in the astrological community. Some people say ancient astrologers thought that the sun was the end-all be-all superior force, which at some level that's accurate in terms of its representation of spirituality. But, the moon is not a so-called second-place planet, because without the moon, the spiritual union that needs to happen in order for physical manifestation on planet Earth to even exist doesn't exist. So the moon is part of like this very sacred dyad of planets and cannot be underestimated in its importance. So with that said, though, we have this kind of battle between us because we all have in our chart, the moon was somewhere, therefore we have a moon sign and a moon placement, and the sun likewise was somewhere, therefore we have a sun placement. So there's this irony. But before I jump into even more juicy details, and I went way into that before saying this, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, hit the like button if it brings you any value whatsoever. And if you want a reading from me or to join us in the astrology cohort happening November 1st, the details for that are down below. You can see all of what I will be imparting to you as participants in that program. So, let's continue with this conversation. The sun and the moon are just naturally opposites. You get that, right? So, how do you come into terms with that as a soul, as a being, in order to be like a unified, maybe not unified, but a holistic human who's like not functioning completely in one energy or the other? Well, people kind of figure this out at their own pace, and different charts read very differently than others. Sometimes you'll see the moon and the sun are in the same element. Maybe you have an earth moon and an earth sun. Well, that's going to be easier for you than somebody that has, say, a fire moon and a water sun. Then you're getting into different territory, and these are the two most foundational, important planetary placements in a birth chart. So when you think about it, if you have the moon and the sun in different elements or even in a square aspect, things can be very different and very challenging to integrate. So this is the wisdom drop of the day. How do you integrate? You integrate regardless of your sun and moon placements by coming to terms with the energy that each element is representative of, or each sign is representative of. I say start simple. Simple is usually deeper, actually, in astrology. So think about the simplest form of this element. You know what I'm saying? So if the moon is in water, which is great, generally speaking, even though it's in Scorpio, not so great, right? But if the moon is in water, it has a certain familiarity to it, regardless of the sign. And then if the sun is in, say, fire, which is another great placement because the sun likes to be in fire signs, okay? How do you reconcile that? You have to get in tune with both your inner waters, your inner emotional depths, your emotional fluidity, even the fluidity of your body, because the moon represents the body in ancient astrology. And then you have to get in tune with your sun elements in terms of the plot line of your life, playing out in your identity as like a fiery being. So you have to come to terms with the fact that you might be a fiery being and your career might involve some fiery topics and energetic expressions, very bold, fiery gestures, but your moon is going to be this deep emotional experience, and you need to make space for that, and you need to honor that, in your life. And throughout this integration of honoring your emotional side, even though you might be known for your more fiery aspects, that's going to serve you, that's going to integrate you, that's going to keep you in divine harmony rather than working against it. So like the fit if it brings you any value. I thought this was a really interesting concept that Spirit just kind of gave to me to talk to you about today. So I hope it did bring you value. And subscribe if you're not already. Put a comment down below if you have any questions or want to learn more about anything in particular. And with that said, my friend, through next time, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.